everybody, I hope you're all doing well. I wanted to give you an update on my first Crusade project because over the last few weeks I've been building up quite a few things, and rather than do lots of little updates I thought I'd wait until I got all of those things in that batch finished. So as you can see in front of me here, there is quite a few bits that I've managed to complete. I've got command elements, some attachments, some cavalry and some buildings. So I'm going to have a look at all of this, and yeah, we'll just get straight to it. Okay, so the first thing that I thought I'd share with you is actually the thing I've completed most recently, and that is my first command base for the whole project. And as you can see, this one is for the Crusaders. Now, for this, I considered doing the commands on square bases, so I could slot them in, but I really do like using round bases for doing commands because it creates a bit more of a diorama effect, and you can do some quite nice stuff basically. So for this one, you can see that we've got a situation where a commander, this one is meant to be a named commander, but I'll come on to that in a second. But anyway, a commander has taken a position. He's lost one of his banner bearers, who's slumped over here still holding the banner. He's got two of his personal retainers in front of him defending him while he's redirecting his troops to take position. Now, all of these are Caballero Miniatures, printed by Grey Green Customs here in the UK, and I mean, I've already talked about these miniatures on the channel, but these are fantastic. The sense of character that you get from these is absolutely awesome. And I went through the catalogue and basically handpicked each of these because, you know, you can decide which ones you want to have printed. So I kind of went through things. I was like, yeah, these will make a really good scene. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to stop the turntable and we'll have a closer look at him. And here is the base. So I fell in love with these sculpts as soon as I saw them on the Caballero portfolio on my mini factory. The main one that kind of started this whole thing off is this guy there who's slumped over the banner. And I thought, you know, what kind of situation could you have? I mean, he would make an awesome objective marker or something like that, but I thought, no, it'd be quite cool to include him on a base. I haven't got any other miniatures from any other range who are in that kind of a pose, so I thought that would be absolutely awesome. I just love the way as well that his arm is draped over the banner pole, so that was easy to slide in there. That's just brass rod, same as the banner over here and the spears. So yeah, he was the whole reason this base kind of started. Commander in the middle there, loads of character, giving him a shield. All of the shields on here are actually from the Victrix set, and that's because I've got the transfers that fit the Victrix shields. So I'll talk a little bit in a minute about how I did the shields, but they're more or less the same size as the ones that come printed with the miniatures, so I just swapped them out just for continuity across all the models. So he's got his slung over his shoulder, which is very cool. And then we have this guy here. Now this guy here was originally meant to just be holding a sword. That's what he came with, so I swapped that out for a banner. And as has been pointed out, because I shared a picture of this on social media and in the community, he does look a bit like the Grail Knight from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. So there you go. That's this is where he started life. There we are. And as you can see, this guy here, I love the fact that you've got the harness that's attached to the shield. Lovely. So yeah, basically the idea being that there is almost a last stand, or that they're protecting their lord as they're redirecting. Now this could be used as any Crusader lord, but in my mind this is Robert Curthose, who is the eldest son of William the Conqueror, and he was one of the main commanders in the First Crusade, the Prince's Crusade. Now I'm going to do a history video about him, but basically he was considered a really good battlefield commander, but a terrible strategist and not a great tactician. He was Duke of Normandy after William the Conqueror's death, and his brother became King of England. However, after that brother died, he tried to lay claim to the throne, but his other brother beat him to it, becoming Henry I. Well, he was on Crusade for a while, but I'm going to do a history video about him. The base has been, well, you can see big red bat base again. It's been built up using exactly the same basing method as I used in my previous basing video. All I've done is I thought a little bit more on this one about placement, and below the ground form here I just used a bit of milliput just to create a slight rise, so you've got that nice platform for the general to sit on. So there we go. I'm just really pleased. The banners are from Little Big Men Studios. And the shield designs, I said, they're also from Little Big Men Studios as well. What I tend to do, I do all the shields separate. I put the transfers on, and after I've done that, I hit them with some matte varnish. I then use weathering pigments and different dry brushing just to try and tone them in with the landscape, because even when they go on, I know Little Big Men Studios have some weathering and damage done. Like you can see scratches on the shields here and here. They're basically printed on. They aren't weathered enough for my liking. So yeah, so there we go. So I am really pleased with this command base. I can't wait to get it on the table. I now just need to find some kind of box to put it in to keep it safe. I think that's probably one of the best views of it, where you've got his, got them standing side by side. So yeah, there we go. That I've been working on that this week, and it was just a lot of fun to do. These miniatures really are nice. I am going to get some more, and the fact that you can individually pick these out, I mean, you can really pick a scene, and I think that's what I've tried to do. Again, scene in the middle of the battle. Yeah, you can see he's holding his helmet there, and you've even got the strap, look, just hanging down from the helmet. So that is the first thing that I've completed for the Crusades. Let's have a look at what else I've done. Sticking with the Crusaders, I've got this small unit attachment. Now these are from Stronghold Terrain in Germany, and these are sold as a pack of half guard for Saga. I've popped them all on one base, but basically you've got some double-handed swordsmen to use. Now I don't believe there were just single units of double-handed swordsmen running around on the battlefields. There might have been. We know they had, double-handed axes, and there were some double-handed swords. The way I thought I could use this is, as I'm primarily, at least to begin with, going to be playing Hail Caesar. I do have plans on using Lion Rampant and Deus Volt and look at Soldiers of God, but Hail Caesar is the one that I have and that I'm most familiar with, so it's the one I'll start with. I thought that it would be quite fun to basically to indicate that a unit has some double-handed swordsmen in it, rather than doing a whole unit of double-handed swordsmen. So effectively this base will just slot in with some other bases, and then that will indicate that that unit has double-handed weapons. And what I'll do, I'll just stop this and I'll show you what I mean. So quite simply, here we've got just 2 bases of Crusaders, which would normally, well, in my gaming terms, this would be a small unit, but I can just simply add that on as a unit attachment, and it's a standard unit, but it's got some double-handed swordsmen in it, and it's almost just like a little unit attachment just to pop on, just to indicate they've got some double-handed swordsmen, so I would know that that unit gets a bonus for double-handed weapons. Now I think I'm going to apply this to quite a few things in the Crusades. I thought maybe about putting in some monks. I'm going to do units of pilgrims, but certainly on the Seljuk, on the Turkish side of things, there are the NAFTA troops who hurl Greek fire at people. They have the siphons and the flamethrowers. Instead of doing a whole unit, I thought it'd just be fun just to stick a single base in there. That way you're going to have things go a little bit further as well. You're not just going to have that one unit on the battlefield that everyone's going to suddenly gun for. But these were a lot of fun to paint. These are all metal. Again, I swapped out the shields that they came with for the Victrix ones because, again, just for continuity. I really like the guide scale armor at the front, and some nice interesting poses, although they're quite wide poses, so I had to sort of do a bit of pre-planning as well on the placements. They weren't sort of cutting each other in half. So there we go. That's something else done for the Crusades. I mean, you could always use that on its own, say it is a tiny unit, but I quite like the idea of just popping it in like that. So that's what I've worked on for the Crusaders. That now gives me 4 4 units of Crusaders. I have crossbowmen, I have mounted troops, and I have 2 standard troops, plus I have the commander and the little unit attachment. So probably just a couple of bases more. And I'm going, and then I'll be ready. That's basically where I want the Crusader forces at to start gaming. There's obviously a lot more things that I want to add into it, but that's definitely where I want to be to start the gaming. However, I have also worked on some troops for the Seljuks. And here we go. So for the Seljuks, I've completed my first unit of horse archers. In my last update, I indicated that's what I was going to be working on next for them, and here they are. So the first thing you're going to notice is that unlike a lot of games where you have 12 cavalry to a unit, I've only done this in 9, and that's because I think you can get the same effect and a far more interesting basing dynamic going on with 9 than you can with 12. Things like heavy cavalry, it might be better to have 12 in close order, but these are light cavalry, and I wanted to show them sort of riding around the enemy and not shooting each other in the back of the head with arrows. So I've gone with 9. It's very similar to what I did for my English Civil War stuff, and it seems to work well. It does mean to get a bit more mileage out of the packs as well. So for every 3 packs of light cavalry, you'll get 4 units. Although the way I'm working this project, as you can probably see, I'm just kind of doing it base by base. So if there's only 2 bases left, they'll just form a small unit. So all of these are from Gripping Beast. They are the Gripping Beast plastic Arab light cavalry set, but there are some head swaps in there from the infantry set and a couple of weapon swaps as well. The metal banner pole I put in separate because there wasn't one in the set. Now what I'll do, I'll stop the turntable. Oh, there's the switch, there it is. Now I spent quite a while agonizing about how I was actually going to do the basing for these. One of my main reasons is you spend a lot of time painting cavalry, and when you have them all facing forwards, you can't see all of that awesome detail that you've done because they're just covering each other. Secondly, these are light cavalry, and as we know from the historical records and accounts of the battles, they just like to ride around their enemies and draw them out. And I wanted to try and get that feeling that they're diverting their attack as they're coming in. And the final reason that I've kind of set them up like this is because you get these lovely poses in here, like with this horse archer here, who's firing to the side. But if you rank them up as you would normally, you'll just be shooting his mate in the back of the head. And that kind of thing just really annoys me. So I decided that I would do this. So I have put them on a slant, basically, as if they're riding around. So you can see this guy here taking his shot. Been backed up there by this chap, and I think it just creates a much more interesting basing dynamic. And you can I can pick those up and say, yes, there we are, we have some light cavalry. The shield transfers are again from Little Big Men Studios. I tried to keep these models as simple as I could with the paint schemes. It generally involves me just picking colours and then finding good contrasting colours to use on other parts of the model. So you can say on the standard bearer, I've given him a black headdress and then used white robes. Likewise, the turban on this guy over here did green, which I thought contrasted quite well with the purple. And then the horse colours I just picked out randomly. Anyone who's watched the channel and knows my aversion to painting horses, I just whacked those out as quickly as I possibly could. But to be fair, the painting process for these isn't very long. And again, if you've seen my English Civil War video about painting, you'll know that the actual painting part it doesn't take a whole lot of time, and I painted these all stuck on the horses. I didn't do the riders separate, just so I could get them, it would be a bit less painless. I didn't see the point in painting all of these areas just to then stick a model over the top of them and then not have it seen. Again, exactly the same basing techniques, only on these I've tried to include far more footprints and hoof prints to show where the horses have gone. So that's my first unit of Seljuk cavalry. I do intend on having quite a few of these, so I've got another 2 boxes on order, which will mean I can have 4 units, 4 standard size units of 3 bases. but I've always, one of those is a heavy cavalry box. The heavy cavalry box will let me do 1 unit of heavy cavalry, and then I'll have a spare base of heavy cavalry, which I figure I can just mix in with one of these. And like I say, it could either be a unit attachment, or are we actually going to care? I think he'll just quite happily represent some cavalry. So they are now complete, and those were a lot of fun to do. I considered potentially doing a painting video just showing them on these. Is that something you'd be interested in? Let me know in the comments down below. Like I say, the process wasn't hugely different to how I did it for the English Civil War, but you know, I can always put a video together if people are interested. Now I've got those out of the way, of course, you need something to fight on and fight over, and terrain for this has been a pain, but I found a bit of a solution, and I'll show you that now. Right, so Crusade's terrain is somewhat limited. I don't want to just have you know, trees and walls. I wanted there to actually be small villages to fight over. But if you're trying to do historical research into the architecture of, well, first of all, the Holy Land, it's quite sparse. Secondly, the Crusade took place over loads of different countries. Thousands of miles. There are battles on sort of lush green plains, there are battles in forests, there are battles in valleys, obviously ones in the desert, so I had to kind of come up with something that would fit. So I decided that the best thing to do would be to pick up some MDF terrain and make these typical desert buildings, which you know, the design of these hasn't really changed. Now, I don't know for, you know, 100% how accurate this is, but I think for my purposes that's going to be fine. I have taken part in the Kickstarter for the castles of the Crusade, so for city walls and things I will be using that. However, I thought for a little settlement, some buildings like this would be the ticket. I picked this up at Warfare from Blotz MDF terrain. Now I think this was £9. So it's a very simple kit, removable tops. I haven't decided yet whether or not I'm actually going to do anything inside. However, I've left it like that so I can if I want to. As I say, very basic kit, and very simple to paint. Now, what I did was I went to good old home base here in the UK. In 1 second, I'll just grab them. There we go. I bought these. Now, I had these colour matched against the AK Interactive diorama paste that I use on my bases for doing this, because I wanted something that was similar, not exactly the same but similar, so the buildings look like they've been made from the same clay, the same earth. So what I did was I got these done. These were £3.50 each, and of course these are emulsion, so you know, it's not, you have to do a couple of coats on things, but basically I created a base coat with this, mixed some fine gravel into it and sand, painted it all over the building, and then when it was dry, I just dry brushed it with this lighter one, the butterscotch syrup, or the closest thing to butterscotch syrup that they could make me, and that's the effect it came up with. So that's all that is just one undercoat of the I can't remember what that first one's called. What is the first? Peanut butter. And then dry brushed with the butterscotch syrup, and then the door was done with wildwood, and then just normal, but I've used the original basing paste around the bottom so it fits in. That's it. These wooden bits here, I haven't even painted these. Those I've just stuck in. I haven't even glued those in. Those actually will come out if you pull them hard enough, but I don't want to do that. But I thought they just looked good as they were. So yeah, I was very pleased with that. I'm going to pick up a few more buildings, but it, you know, quite happily holds, you know, you can get a unit across the two buildings up high and then have some in it, and I thought scale wise it was spot on. Now Blotz make a number of these buildings, and they also do them in 15mm, and well, they do them in 6mm as well, and 10mm I believe. So I'm going to pick up a few more of these just to use as generic buildings to fight over. So yeah, anyway, let's have a look at, well, let's just round up. So as you can see, I have managed to, get quite a bit done. Obviously, I'm working on this at the same time as I'm working on other projects like the English Civil War stuff I've been doing, the ongoing Wars of the Roses, and a few other bits as well. However, as I say, all I've got to do now for the Seljuks is just complete one more unit I think, and the commander, and we're good to go. So I'm going to focus on those. I have got a gaming mat turning up at some point for this, and we'll be ready to give it a go. Anyway, I wanted to give you guys an update on where the project was, especially as I completed these units. If you want to keep up to date with things, then remember to hit the subscribe button down below, and when I do these videos, you might get a notification. I think you've got to click that bell icon if you want those, but if a video goes up, then you'll get notified about it. I've got some more battle reports on the way, but all of them require a little bit of planning. The Wars of the Roses castle stuff is still ongoing as well, but I think I'm going to try and, painting wise, focus on getting some of these done, and then we'll be having some games of this. There'll be a history video coming out on Robert Curto's in the same format as my Wars of the Roses ones. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to leave some photos up at the end as always to just show you in a little bit more detail what's been going on. If you liked the video, then drop it a like. If you've got any questions, then drop them down below and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible, and I will see you guys again in the next ones. Stay safe, and I'll see you all again soon. Cheers.
Sole